My name is Shanna Swenson, and today I'm going to show you the basics of shooting an Olympic recurve bow. It's important that this video is mainly for Olympic recurve, since bows like compounds and bare bows have slightly different ways of shooting. First, I will explain general parts of the bow, then how to shoot, and after go over feedback with tips on how to improve and supporting a good mindset. First, understanding equipment and what it does is important. According to onlinearcheryacademy.com, important parts of a recurve bow is the bowstring, bow limbs, riser, limb pocket, stabilizer, bow grip, sight pin, clicker, and bow stand. Without getting too elaborate, the bow limbs create tension on the string which allows the arrow to shoot forward. It's important to know that bow limbs should be aligned properly. When they aren't, they cause inconsistent results when shooting. A sight and sight pin allow you to aim and adjust according to your distance. When you need to shoot at a longer distance, you move your sight down and vice versa. When you need to shoot to the left, you move your sight to the right and vice versa. Stabilizers create weight just below the bow grip. This allows for the bow to stay relatively still as you raise your arm to shoot. Clickers rest on top of the arrow while you pull back to your anchor point. As you pull back, the arrow moves away from the clicker and makes a click sound to signal a release of your string. As you get ready to start shooting, there are important safety rules before you start. First, make sure no one is in front of you or behind you while you shoot. Never point your bow at anyone. Check for any damage on your equipment. Remove jewelry. Always walk. Follow whistle commands and any other range rules that your range requires you to follow. Using the 11 steps given by USA Archery, I'll explain the steps of the shooting process. To start shooting, foot posture is extremely important before you raise your bow. According to USA Archery, you should 1. Straddle the shooting line with one foot on either side. 2. Move the foot closest to the target back so that the toes of the foot line up with the center of the arch for the outside foot. 3. Angle the hips by turning the toes of both feet towards the target by approximately 30 degrees. The next part of the process is knocking your arrow into the bowstring. When doing this, make sure the index vein, or different color vein, is pointing away from the riser and the bow is snapped into the string. Second is the hook and grip. The grip on the bow should be loose. Knuckles should be at a 45-degree angle of the bow. Index finger is above the nock and the middle and ring finger below the nocking point. Before getting ready to raise the bow and draw, called set position, keep your stance, hook, and grip maintained. Your bow arm should also be out of the path of the string. Set up or raising the bow requires the bow arm to be lifted straight up from the ground and the bow hand is stopped at shoulder height. Next step is drawing the bow or pulling back. Pull the string at a straight line towards your face. Then anchor the bowstring to your face. This means that the index finger of the draw hand must be settled in the corner of your mouth. Also, that the string should be touching the tip of your nose. After anchoring, you transfer to hold, meaning your draw arm elbow can move slightly behind the arrow. After reaching the point of getting ready to shoot, the next step is to aim. With Olympic recurve, you're allowed a sight to shoot. With the sight, point the small dot to the direction of which you want to shoot. If, for example, you're shooting a standard archery target, the yellow is the center of which you should aim. When aiming, focus equally on the sight and the target. After you aim, you can now release by relaxing the fingertips and allowing the string to roll off the fingers. The shot is finished by moving the drawing arm so that the drawing hand stops between the ear and the shoulder. And the next video is going to be of an Olympic recurve shooter with excellent form and shot process. And notice how he pulls all the way back, stays perfectly still, and holds for about 4 seconds before finally releasing. So after successfully firing the shot, you can now review the process and give yourself feedback. Feedback should always be constructive criticism towards yourself and allow you to improve. Ask yourself, to what extent did you follow the steps in the procedure, and target what do you need to work on. For example, if you didn't completely pull back the string to your face, you should be able to recognize it and try again next time. In archery, your goal is to complete the same process every single time. In conclusion, shooting with a bow requires meticulous recognition of steps throughout your process. It also requires knowledge on bow parts, safety precautions, and helpful feedback. Being in a community of other archers with access to coaches can give you advice on how to improve that you may not have been able to spot yourself. It's important to always be safe while shooting and never forget the rules. The steps of shooting may seem simple, but in practice it requires a lot of concentration and self-reflection. Being an individual sport, feedback towards yourself should always be an attempt to grow as an archer.